Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and like I said, I will come at you with a review of Alligator. Now, I reviewed this film before, and I actually reviewed the sequel, which came out quite a few years later, I believe. But Alligator, it looks like a sci-fi channel film, but it's not. This is a film from 1980, and I will say, this is how monster movies, killer animal films, creature feature, however you want to call this movie, this is how you do it. This should be a template for how you make these kind of movies. Sci-Fi Channel should take note. Many other direct-to-DVD films of today should take note, because this film did not cost that much. You got great director Lewis Teague, who would go on to do Cujo and Cat's Eye, and I think even Stephen King, he really enjoyed the film, and that's why, hey, Lewis Teague, get this guy for Cujo. But I love this film. The film, like I said, it was a 1980 film. Basically, at the beginning, you have this, we see it's sort of this alligator farm with a real alligator, and it attacks a guy, and the crowd sort of gets shot by it. And little girl gets a baby alligator, but then the father doesn't approve, doesn't like, um, pretty much gets pissed, and while she's away, he gets the baby alligator and flushes it down the toilet, and it gets put into the sewer system. And that's an old urban legend of alligators in the sewers that sort of plays off that. Because it's many years later, and what you find out is there's been these pretty much, yeah, scientists having this hormone, this sort of growth hormone, and they're testing on dogs and stuff like that. And when they're done with it, they'll dump it in the sewers, and you find out that this alligator has been eating these dogs, that's been used for experiment, and thus has grown to a large creature. Yeah, the plot seems very crazy, but what really makes this film work is not only the direction, but the acting. Um, Robert Forster is fantastic in this film. He plays a cop named Madison. He just really did an excellent job in this. David Madison, and he's a cop who's you really relate to this guy though. I mean, it's written by John Sayles. John Sayles, who I think helped write the original Piranha, which I know I haven't seen that one yet. I know, shame on me. But John Sayles is a very capable writer, and it really shows in this film because it's very witty, it's very well done. And Robert Forster, you love this guy like for the fact, like, just like me and a lot of other people, um, he's going bald, and like he gets this dog, so rescues this dog, and the guy's there like, yeah, I know the same thing. He's like talking to Robert Forster about, yeah, I know the same thing about his hair. And it gives a little bit more character to it. But Robert Forster called in because they find these body parts in the sewer, and the dialogue is really funny. Like, for instance, a cop telling about how they found this big toe, and they, gave it a funeral and everything. And Robert Forster's like, must have been a small casket. But a sewer worker is missing, which happens. Sewer worker happens to be called Edward Norton, and no, not Ed Norton the actor, but it still made me smile because it's a take on the Honeymooners, like Ed Norton, the sewer worker from the Honeymooners. Um, but what really makes this film work is you really enjoy. I enjoy Robert Forster as an actor. Robert Forster, I think, kicks ass. Whether you want to see Jackie Brown or any other films that he's done. My favorite is definitely this film, Alligator. I definitely think it's the best film of the alligator, crocodile, whatever genres, if you want to call that genre. But basically, he goes off and sees what's going on, why there's body parts in the sewers, what's going on. He investigates, and this guy goes with him, another cop. Uh, and he first visits this place, and the scientists are given sort of the runaround, and he's like, hey, it's very quiet here. And the scientist goes, yeah, well, we cut out the larynx, so that way it's not as noisy. And then you see like the dogs like trying to bark, but like wow, like cut out the larynx of these dogs. It's like wow. See, that's what I like about the writing. And like you have this fun scene where Robert Forster and the cop is ready to go in the sewers, and this bomb guy comes in. Oh, I'm gonna blow up the place. But then you find out the guy has like a fucking radio or something. So they go in the sewers, and the part his they do an excellent job with the creature. I don't think the creature looks cheap. Either they use a real alligator, but the way they filmed it, whether it be with miniatures or stuff like that, is very competent. You really buy into it. Or the actual alligator effects are really good. And that's what's sad. This is 1980, and they can't. Don't do CGI. Do it like alligator. That's really what it should be. Do it like alligator. Like this film. This is back in 1980. And Lewis Teague knew what he was doing. For instance, like Robert Forster and this cop's looking at a map in the sewers. And I love the way they film the sewers. It's like Chud, how they film these sewers in such a cool, creepy way. That's why I like sewers and horror films, because they give a certain great atmosphere to it. It's like sort of the passageway to hell, so to speak, the sewer, especially if you shoot it right. And I like the way these films in the 80s and 70s are shot. It's like, it's not too bright, it's not too crystal clear. There's a little bit of a, I hate to say the word grittiness, but I guess that's the case. So I like that look of that. But with this B-movie idea, it really gives it more of a fun viewing experience. Um, and the fact that all the actors are adults, like you have Robert Forster, you have a woman played by Marisa, played by Robin Riker, you have sort of the chief, who's Robert Forster's friend, played by Michael Gazzo. Like, all these very actors, competent actors. Uh, there's no fresh-faced teenagers. There's no, okay, he's a teenager. That's kind of one of my problems with Piranha 3D, is that it has gore and it has, uh, the tits, but I think the acting, the actors really needed some work. Instead of these fresh-faced teens, like stick with primary and adult cast. Alligator really shows what you can do with that. Same with Jaws and same with other films. But even this film, which doesn't take itself, it has a good sense of humor to it. It's not a parody or a comedy, but it has a good wit to it. But when you have real actors and characters, it really sells your film a lot. And at the same time, the alligator looks good, and he gets a lot of ass. Like there's this reporter who. Well, I was getting at Lewis Teague, the way he films in the sewers. Like there's a scene where they're at the map, Robert Forster and this partner, and like in Halloween movies, like you barely see Michael Myers in the background. There's a scene where like they're looking. If you catch it in the background as the lights are going, you see the alligator sort of in the background for a few glimpses and then black again. So I like that. And then I thought it was shot well. I thought the effects were, for a low budget film, really, really good in my opinion. But of course, the partner gets killed. No one wants to believe him. But then when a reporter gets killed, there's pictures of the alligator, and basically the rest of the film is trying to find this alligator and kick its ass. So yeah, Robert Forster uh, teaming up with this girl played by Robin Riker, and you actually find out that it's her, that she was the little girl way back when who had that baby alligator whose gator got flushed in the sewer. That's the same little girl growing up. I was always I always wonder if they could have maybe somehow, but I don't know how you could have done it. Like her realizing that this is the same baby alligator she used to have, but I don't know how you could work that into a script. So, but I thought it would have been interesting somehow. Like she found out that, oh my god, this is the baby alligator I used to have. But again, I don't know how you could have done it. But like I said, this alligator fucks people up. It bites one guy's leg off. You have a scene where these little kids are messing with this other little kid at a swimming pool, and they push the little kid in the swimming pool, and the lights come up, and you see that the fucking big alligator's in there, and then it cuts away, and you see like a huge splash of blood. So they killed a little kid in this movie, but they did it in a tasteful way. I mean, I don't need to see a kid being eaten for 5 minutes. This is a way like, okay, they did it tastefully, but you did, a shock moment, a really good one. They throw in a Henry Silva, who's the bad guy in Above the Law and a lot of other films. He's there as a hunter, Colonel Brock. And he's having fun with this role. He's not in the film too much, but he gets his ass killed by the damn gator. And the gator, like, kicks ass and takes names. Like, he fucks up this party. Like, well, you have a scene where he busts out through the fucking street, through the concrete and stuff, and starts fucking people up. And then like later on, you have a scene where he's at a party and its tail is smacking people left and right. Really well filmed and stunt work with people flying, blood's flowing. You have the asshole who was head of the chemical, testing of the dogs, sort of the head guy. One guy gets bitten like in the fucking alligator's jaws, smash him against the limo, and then the other guy, the head, like, it smashes his tail, crushing the whole fucking car. Like, pretty much crushing these people to death. I'm like, holy shit, they got away with this on low budget? Really well filmed, the gator looks good, the tail smashing the fucking car. Like a fucking, like a tin can, man. Really badass. Kick-ass gator, the blood's there, person's both his legs get bitten off, they're trying to pull them, the legs get bitten off, they pull up just stubs. A lot of good action beats, well-written script, funny stuff, like Robert Forster's trying to sort of, I don't want to say come on to the girl, but, he's like, I'm not sure, we'll go to dinner. I'm not sure if you don't want to come to spend the night with me and this and that. And then she kisses him and he's like, can I take this as a definitive yes? Like, Robert Forster does a better job with it. Or like, she asks what he's going to do and he's like, I'm going to find the alligator, and flips the keys and does like this. I'm going to kick his ass. Well, I'm going to go out and find the alligator, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to find the alligator, and shit. Fuck. Shit, I can't do it. But catches it. I'm going to kick his ass. I love that bit. And at the ending in the sewer, and the alligator gets fucked up. Badass explosion. Oh, you gave the movie away. It's from 1980. See the movie. Great atmosphere in the sewers. Very competent direction by Lewis Teague. Great cast, especially Robert Forster. Well-written script by John Sayles. Alligator, I think well done special effects. Fucking people up left, right, and center. Not only in the sewers, but amongst the city. But it's a goofy idea, but it's done in a smart way. It's done in a very competent way. Real quick, like Alligator 2, The Mutation, I have reviewed that one too. It's still on the channel, so I'll remember to put the link down below so you check out my older review of Alligator as well as Alligator 2, The Mutation. I didn't want to re-review it because I don't own the film. I would gladly own the film because, it's a companion piece of Alligator. It has nothing to do with the first one. No one comes back from the first one. It's its own story. But, I mean, at best, it's a time waster, Alligator 2. I will say, though, I thought Alligator 2 was just a little bit more cliche. Like, to me, at least Alligator, it doesn't rip off Jaws either. I don't think it rips off Jaws at all. Alligator 2 kind of ripped off Jaws a little bit. Joseph Bologna, or Bologna, how the hell you say his name, wasn't as great of a lead as Robert Forster. I don't think the humor and the script was definitely not as top-notch as the first one. I thought Alligator 2, The Mutation, was definitely a step down. I have to watch it as a time waster, but it's pretty step down. But I would own it, but it's hard to find unless you want to get pretty spendy. But either way, you can check out my review, Alligator 2, The Mutation, get more of that. But definitely check out the first Alligator. Thanks for watching. Later.